This video is all about my custom Lego Boeing 747 model. Over the next few minutes, we'll check out the motorized landing gear, the flaps and spoilers, the interior, brick-built logos, and some of the challenges I ran into, as well as some tricks I used. Stick around till the end, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and here's a little challenge for you. Can you spot where I used these three parts in the build? The battle droid torso element, a pirate hook piece, and the hockey stick. Let me know in the comments if you found all of them. So let's get started. My goal for the plane was to create a clean design with smooth surfaces and a high level of recognizability. The plane is built at a 1:50 scale. It measures 1.5 meters in length, has a wingspan of 1.35 meters, and stands 38 centimeters tall. Weighing in at 11.4 kilograms, it consists of roughly 12,500 Lego pieces. For transportation, it can be easily taken apart into 3 fuselage sections, the 4 engines and the 2 wings, in just a few minutes. After completing the prototype of the landing gear and wing, I sketched the 2 fuselage cross-sections to perfect the contours. Despite its lightweight construction, the model ended up very sturdy. The center section can easily be lifted by the wings, and if you give it a gentle shake, you can even see some wing flex. The Boeing 747 has 4 main landing gear assemblies. The wheels are mounted on articulated bogies. 2 of the landing gears are located under the fuselage, while the other 2 are built into the wings. To cover the landing gear openings, a total of 8 doors are used. The 4 large doors can fold in the middle and operate independently. When the gear swing is finished, they will close again. The remaining 4 doors are directly linked to the gear struts themselves. The real challenge wasn't just synchronizing all these moving parts, but fitting everything into such a tight space between wing and fuselage, all while maintaining the model's overall aesthetics. The front landing gear mechanism might seem simpler with just 4 doors, but it's still a complex system from a design standpoint. The landing gear doors are mounted on a curved surface that tapers on both sides. The large doors have their own dedicated mechanism, while the smaller ones are pushed open by the landing gear. Despite its compact size, the landing gear can support the full weight of the aircraft and works very reliably when retracting. Initially, I was concerned that the aircraft's tail might be too heavy, causing the nose to lift. However, it turned out that 95% of the weight rests on the main landing gear and 5% on the nose gear, eliminating the need for additional weights to maintain balance. Just like the real airplane, my model features 4 individual flaps with 2 on each side. Each flap is powered by a linear actuator that sits inside the wing and pushes the flap outward. In my model, the flap track fairings guide the flap panels down at an angle as they extend. Each flap sits at a slightly different angle, and since the inner flap is larger, it has to extend further. This meant I had to fit a small gearbox inside the wing to adjust for the needed gear ratio between the 2. If you're interested in the flaps in more detail, I have a whole video on that, which I'll link below. Just like on the real 747, the spoilers on top of the wing cover the gaps left by the extended flaps. My model features 2 sets of spoilers on each wing. They are connected with universal joints and some rigid hoses. The spoilers are powered by pneumatics, with a small pneumatic cylinder in each wing that opens them up. Retraction happens automatically with rubber bands when the pressure is released. The design of the wings had to receive a lot of attention. They are not only swept backward, but also have a slight dihedral. The challenge was to achieve the needed stability while dealing with the lack of space and ensuring the connection to the fuselage at the correct position and angle. This underside view reveals how much space is needed for the individual components. When you mark out the space required for the landing gear and the flaps, only the remaining section can be used for the connection to the fuselage and general stability. On top of that, the wing couldn't be made too thick, as I wanted to maintain the original look. The engines are made up of curved slopes arranged in a circular pattern. The round shape of the engines made it difficult to connect them to the engine mounts under the wing. So I moved some of the top slopes half plate outward to create space for a plate in between. To create the iconic rear of the engines, I used some circular building techniques along with curved slopes. The fan in the front is made from clips attached to a pulley wheel. Just like the leading edge of the wing, the engine's inlets are made from metallic silver parts. The engine mounts at a 45-degree angle under the wing. Like the main wings, the horizontal stabilizer sits at an angle and also has a slight dihedral. The tail is built sideways and has a brick-build Lufthansa logo. The leading edge is also made of metallic silver pieces. I made a whole video about it, so feel free to check it out. I'll leave a link below. Apart from all the technical challenges, the nose with the cockpit was probably the most difficult design aspect on the plane. I knew from the start that the nose would play a huge role in the overall appearance. To make the surface feel seamless, I used angled panels. The only drawback of this technique are the resulting gaps in areas where the panels meet. To cover this up, I used slightly offset 1x2 panels pieces. For the cockpit windows at the top, I used a combination of rigid hoses and Lego hand elements. This approach allowed me to replicate the characteristic shape of the window's outline. The windshield wipers are made from minifigure ice skates, attached upside down to a hot dog piece. In the rear of the aircraft, I included one section of economy class. The seats are built from 3 pieces. The gold bar piece even has an engraving on the back that looks like a small screen. The Lufthansa lettering on the fuselage, like the logo on the tail fin, was originally planned as printed elements. After successfully recreating the tail logo with Lego bricks, I decided to tackle the Lufthansa lettering as well. Each letter is up to 3 studs wide, with a 1-plate gap in between. Achieving this in such a small space proved to be more difficult than I initially thought. You can find a full speed build of the lettering on my channel, linked in the info box. It took me about 10 months and over 300 hours to complete this build. The challenge of balancing functionality, design, and stability really gave me a headache at times. There were so many moments where I was convinced it just wasn't going to work. That's why I'm even more excited to finally see the finished model. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with how it all came together in the end. If you'd like to support future projects, feel free to check out my Patreon in the video description. I'm also really curious to hear what you think about it and how many of the hidden parts you found. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.